Why are people so stupid? Hello, this is Kim. Welcome to my first ever official formal salt session from Fables. And by salt session, I mean a rant session. So this is a rant video, so just be warned. I'm going to try to keep it constructive and low-key and not violent, but I might get super passionate in the video because this is something that really gets under my skin. And if you share the same rage as me, let's just get that salt out and then just like just let that I just really needed to make this video because this is something that's been just bugging me for maybe 2 or 3 years, like, and it really gets under my skin. And I know this is not something as serious as, say, like genocide or whatever, but it's still an important issue for me, and it's something that really riles me up, and this is just a rant video. So feel free to disagree, and if you're one of the people that I describe, I hope you consider what I'm saying, but just so you know, take it with like a grain of salt because this is a salt video, it is a salt session, so I'm going to be very animated about this, but I'm going to try to keep it constructive and just explore the issue and just kind of share with you my thoughts and opinions and feelings on this. But just like fair warning, the first part of this video is probably going to be a lot of feelings, so just don't take it too seriously. I dropped my little pointer thingy. What I really want to talk about in this video and rant about in this video is people, and like, in a nutshell, people that have no respect for animals. People that objectify animals, people that objectify their pets, that accessorize their pets, that see and treat their animals as an accessory, as an object, as something that they can use to humor, something they can film a video of and post it on TikTok. Hey, because it's funny, it's a cat, right? Like, they're assholes anyway. So this is going to be a rant about that. I'm just really sick and tired of seeing stupid videos online, especially on TikTok. I don't know what it is with TikTok, but I think TikTok is just filled with like, I really love TikTok. I love all the mental health tidbits. I love the quick bites of like the cherry pick-me-ups, and I love all the dance choreos and the comedy. Like, I love TikTok. It's a great place. I used to love hanging out there, just, scrolling and just, watching and something to do, right? It was great. But the only reason why the major reason why I quit TikTok was because of all the stupid animal content that I see, and it really gave me bad anxiety episodes. I just could not contain my resentment and my bitterness and just my rage. Like, there's different kinds of anger and different kinds of rage. It's the type of anger where you witness ignorance and you witness what I consider as an injustice to these animals. Like, I'm just like really sick of people, like, say, shaving their cats fur, like, and then just posting a video on TikTok for fun. Why would you do that? Or people painting their cat and spraying color, whatever it is, on their cat. I remember seeing a post of this model, like, I don't think this was on TikTok, it was just on social media, like this model tattooing their cat, stuff like that. And then one of the worst ones I've seen was like this person filmed their cat giving birth on the couch, and the cat is like in pain. And the cat was rolling around, writhing in pain and screaming. And this person took a video of it, like thought it was a good idea to take a video of it, and then posted it on TikTok. And all the time that she was filming, I assumed it was a she because I hear like a female voice, was just laughing because it's funny, right? It's a cat. It's a fucking cat giving birth on your couch in pain, and it's funny, right? Oh wow, look at her writhing around trying to give birth to babies. Wow. That one really broke me. I was so pissed. I wish I could go back and report the video. I honestly did not even finish that video because I could not keep watching it. I don't know what was that person thinking, like thinking that this was a good idea to take a picture of the cat giving birth, writhing on the couch and laughing. I don't understand. And there's like other stupid videos of just like people mistreating their cats. I mean, I consider that mistreating because I think anything disrespectful, like, I don't know what is with, I think cats especially, I think dogs are generally pretty obedient. They're like people pleasers, so people generally don't have issues with them. But like, I don't know why, like people are just always trolling their cats and sometimes like think it's really fun. Like, for example, they will like put on this scary like costume or mask and just like scare the shit out of their cats. I mean, and it's not like just like a little surprise startle type of like goofy scare. It's more like the cat is like arching like a Halloween cat, like legit terrified, scared. Why would you do that to your cat? It's not funny. There's also videos like this woman trying to pet this cat, but the cat is like, no. And then the woman's just like kind of hissing back, like as if it's funny. It's like, yeah, like hiss to you too, bitch. I'm just like, leave that animal alone. Sometimes cats don't want to be petted. And I really hate it when people are like, call cats assholes because they probably expect them to be affectionate all the time. They expect them to behave like dogs. And if they don't give affection back right away, or they don't give you the reaction that you want right away, then they're assholes. They're not assholes. They just have boundaries, and they're really good at communicating those boundaries. And the fact that you're mad is because you're an idiot and you're not respectful of that cat's boundaries. And you might say, but it's just a cat. And that really gets me, because anything that is a living being deserves to be treated with respect and compassion. And understand there are humorous moments with your pets. I have a cat. I mean, I'm not perfect, but I do my best to respect my cat when he tells me I don't want to be petted. Like, you know, I don't want to talk to you right now. That's fine, because to love something, to love someone, it doesn't matter what you love, a cat, a dog, a person. To love something is to take that thing as part of yourself. And if I were a cat, and I tell my human, I don't want to be petted right now because I'm not in the mood for it, then I would want that person to stop and respect my boundaries. Like, imagine, it's like by your logic, oh, it's a cat, right? Like, I can just touch it whenever I want because I'm the one who's feeding it, I'm the one who's cleaning its shit, I'm the one who's taking care of it. Then, so you're supposed to have sex with your partner whenever they want. And I know this is somewhat like an extreme example, but it's like, you know, boundaries, right? Like, a cat is a living thing. It really frustrates me how people, I think dogs are easier to get because dogs have been domesticated with people for so long. But even then, I think dogs are often misrepresented and misunderstood as well. Like, there's just, in general, a lot of ignorance towards animals. And I think cats are sort of at the forefront. I guess I'm just mostly talking about like domestic pets, you know, like not like farm animals, or because I've never had experiences with them, but I mostly have experiences with dogs and cats, so that's what I'm focusing on, especially cats. That's kind of that's my kryptonite. Okay, it gets me really riled up. Where was I? Like, it just frustrates me so much when people make all these cases about like, my cat is an asshole, my cat doesn't want to do this, or my cat scratched me. It's like, cats are very like perfectly willing, like they have no issue letting you know how they want to be treated. And the fact that you're butthurt about that, I mean, I understand sometimes when my cat doesn't want to cuddle, like, he's just not a cuddler, period. And in the beginning, I really struggled with this. Like, I really wanted some affection from my cat, but then I adopted my cat not to use him for love and affection. I adopted him so he could have a home and be happy. And you know, it's like, I didn't adopt him to own him. And I think a lot of people have the mentality is like, oh, I have this cat or I have this dog, they have to do whatever it is that I say, or they have to like humor me and entertain me and give me affection whenever I want. But we forget they're living beings, and sometimes they want space, they want time to themselves, and don't want to be petted. It's like, you don't want to be touched all the time. Like, why can't you have the same respect for the animal that you care for? And it's just like, some people are just so stupid and absolutely entitled when it comes to the animals. That really, really upsets me, and that really riles me up. Like, it gets under my skin so quickly. It's like, if you want to piss me off, like, this is how you do it. Like, I mean, there are other things that enrage me, such as religious intolerance, bigotry in general. Anything that causes suffering is like, makes me mad. But this is one of those things, because you know, animals, right? They don't have language. They can't talk to us and tell us like, hey, I'm sorry, I don't want to be petted right now, I hope you understand. They can't say it in a diplomatic way. They can only tell you instinctually. It's like, they don't want to be petted, they scratch you, or they try to bite you, or they just turn away. That's how they communicate. And I think it's like ignorant when we interpret that as assholery, and we interpret that as, oh, my cat is just being mean, and my cat's just like ungrateful bastards or whatever. That's how they communicate. It's like a lot of people scared of dogs, and then dogs want to bite something. It's like, they can't hold it with their paws, can they? It's like, if they want to grab something, they have to bite it with their mouth. And it's just how they communicate a lot of times. And I know they're like animals that are actually aggressive and have problems that they might have to work through with a behavioral therapist or something, or like a pet trainer. Understandable. But honestly, even then, I still believe 90% of the time when it comes to the problems with these animals is because of the human. Cats aren't the assholes. and dogs aren't aggressive, like we are the assholes. And I feel like a lot of times it's just us being ignorant. It's just really frustrating to me to see so much stupidity and ignorance on social media regarding pets, especially cats. And I just wish people would respect their animals more and really take into consideration like a cat is a different, well, we're both mammals, but we're all animals, we're all part of the animal kingdom. They don't have language and they don't have verbal communication, so the only way they could communicate with us is either by scratching or pawing and sometimes biting. And it's dangerous and it's selfish to only interpret that as aggression or interpret that as like, oh, my cat doesn't want to listen to me and doesn't want to do what I want. It's like your cat is a living thing. Your cat is a living being, living, breathing human being that have their own thoughts and feelings. They may not be as complex as a human person's, but they do deserve your respect and your consideration and your understanding. You can't treat your cat or your animal with a different, you can't treat your animal with the standards of that is not of its species. For example, like you can't treat a cat like you treat a dog. You can't expect a cat to behave like a dog. I've known a lot of cat parents expect their cats to behave like dogs, and they get mad when they aren't as reciprocal as dogs, or just not reciprocating the affection as much as a dog would. And it's just stupid, because why would a cat be a dog? Like, why? And it's also silly to treat a cat or a dog like a person. And I know like we project our human sentiments onto an animal a lot, and that does happen, but it's kind of like I just wish people are more perceptive and more understanding, and like they really take their time in the heart space to understand the animal they're caring for and not come from an entitled and ignorant place. Like, why did you adopt this animal, or why did you buy this animal, or why did you have this animal in your life? Like, if you're doing this just to objectify the animal, just to have something to entertain you, or just to like have something you can post on social media, like why the fuck did you do? That's just so irresponsible. I'm sorry. Like that just like, honestly, I know not everyone could treat like caring for a pet with the same gravitas and the same intensity as I do, and there's probably people with more sort of intense emotions surrounding this, right? But I just wish people are a little more sensitive to the fact that the animal in front of you is a living, breathing thing. They're not there for your entertainment. They're not there to be objectified by you for they don't exist for your humor. They don't exist to give you affection. I mean, it's the same thing with people, right? It's like people don't exist to give you love. They give you love because they want to, not because like they're obligated to. You can't have that standards with people. You can't have that standards, certainly not with animals. And I think like it's because like maybe it's because we know we can't do this with people and we want so desperately to do it on the animals. Maybe we're just lonely deep down on the inside, but who knows? But that is not an excuse. I just feel like to care for an animal, and also there's just this inherent fact that there is a power difference, right? Because as a human person, we are the one that provide for them. We're the one that shelter them. We have the resources to them. We give them food, we give them treats, we take them to the hospital. Basically, their entire world is shaped by us and by our decisions. And just like there's a lot of power in our hands, and I think it's very easy for us to abuse that power that we have over a creature that is smaller. I mean, would you do that to like a huge ass dog that could probably like bite you and snap your neck? You probably wouldn't call that dog an asshole because you will be wary of its size. But unfortunately, domestic cats don't grow into that size. So sometimes we bully them, you know? Sometimes I just see people bullying their pets on social media, and it just breaks my heart. It just makes me so mad. It just honestly enrages me. It's just, if you're watching this video and you have a pet and you're one of those people that think anything that has to do with animals is funny, I urge you, I plead with you, just please, just take a moment to consider and reconsider what I said, because an animal, your pet, is a living being. It's a living, breathing thing. It doesn't exist. It doesn't owe you anything. I mean, you could feel that it owes you something because you're the caretaker, but that's not what love is. Love is to take something as part of yourself. It doesn't matter if you're doing all those things. You will be doing all those things anyway out of love, and you will be respecting the animal's boundaries out of love, because you would not want something like that to happen to you. When you tell someone like, that you want something or you don't want to do something, you will want that person to respect your wishes and be like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. This is what you want. I won't push you to do it. Like, it's the same thing. And I know some people are going to be like, but it's just an animal. Like, it doesn't matter. A living being thing deserves our respect. And that should be that. And the reason why I am just so this is just such a hot button issue for me is I do kind of have a little trigger, like a story that sort of shaped and defined how I view this whole issue. Is is because I did have a really bad experience with a cat, not my cat. There's this one cat that I kind of in and out of my life of in the way that it was my student's cat, and I was an English tutor at the time, and I would go to their house every single week to tutor my students. And I adopted a cat, and I was tutoring them like way before then. So I was tutoring them and then they adopted a cat. And at first I was really happy for them because adopting a cat is a really exciting thing. You're welcoming the cat into your family, you have a new family, like a furry member. And it's just like, it's such a privilege and an amazing experience to have an animal in your life that loves you, no matter what shape how that takes place and how that happened. Anyway, so I was really excited, and I even gave them like a care package. I brought some treats for their cat, some toys, and just some little trinkets for the cat. I put it in a basket and gave it to them. I was really excited for them. I really wanted to I was like, okay, like I really study into this. I have a cat myself, know a lot about taking care of cats, so if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. So that was that. And then the next couple of weeks have been brutal in the sense that I would go to the student's house and I would notice, first thing that was a red flag for me. This is a really unpleasant story. Like, it's probably not as bad as you would expect, but it really upset me because I did not speak up for the longest time. So one of the red flags that I saw about how their family wasn't really taking care of the cat and really just adopted the cat for the lulz, I think, was number one, they put the litter box right next to the food, like literally like side by side in the open. And the litter box wasn't even a litter box, it was a fucking baking tray from like dollar store or something. Like, you know those metal baking tray that you use to cook what's it called, pasta, or Garfield's favorite food, lasagna, you know, those kind of baking trays. They just bought that and used it as a litter box. And I was like, okay, maybe it's just temporary because I know they adopted a cat from the shelter. Maybe they're just fostering to see if this cat could work. I could let this slide, so I didn't say anything. And then as the weeks went by, I noticed that they weren't even cleaning the litter box. It was just covered in shit and piss, and it was just never scooped. It was never clean. There were just shits everywhere. Shit, literally chunks of shit everywhere, like on the ground near the litter box, not even in the litter box. There's not even enough sand in the fucking litter box. And there was shit everywhere. And I would go there for 2 weeks and it would still be the same, like the same piece of shit on the same spot. Nobody bothered to clean it. And it was a house of 4 or 5. I honestly don't understand what the fuck they were thinking. So the litter box was never clean. So that was a major red flag of neglect. And there was not even enough litter in there. And the fact that it was out in the open where we were tutoring was next to their fucking dining table. And I was like, even from a sanitary perspective, why wouldn't you clean it? And I started hearing problematic stories about the cat, of how like this kid accidentally punched the cat in the eye and it had like blood or it was like bloodshot or something, and how the dad would like throw the cat into a separate room and slam the door to punish the cat. I don't know, they tried to make it sound like a joke, but I wasn't laughing. And the cat would just be so scared all the time, and they would try to grab the cat to look at it and play with it. And it just seemed like none of them wanted the cat there. I don't know why they adopted a cat if they didn't want to take care of it. Eventually, I also noticed the care package that I gave them. They never bothered opening up the trees. They never even opened the toys. So they never fed the trees. They never play with the cat. They never took care of the cat. I don't know what the fuck they were doing. I held back my anger because I didn't want to offend them. I didn't know completely what was happening. And I just didn't say anything. And that was one of the most grueling 4 or 5 weeks of my life, because I just I don't know how I held it in that long. But now I know that is happening. I'm going to speak up. I don't care who I offend. I'm going to speak up about what was right, because no one's speaking up for this animal. This animal can speak for them. Like, this cat can speak for himself. I think it was a tomcat. They don't have verbal language. They could only react either in fear, or they could bite you, or they could do this. That's their only language. And I've been sort of just witnessing that. every single week when I went to their house for tutoring. And I was really angry and I was so pent up. And I was like, should I address this? Should I not? And I was just like, every single day I would be thinking about that cat. And it got so bad to the point where, you know how the emotions that accumulate in your body results sometimes in physical symptoms. I got a canker sore breakup in my mouth at the time, and there were 44 plus something canker sores. My mouth was covered in canker sores, covered in lesions and holes from the truth that I was holding. And it was just terrible. And when I finally spoke up about the cat, and I tried to be as diplomatic as possible, I kind of broke broke it down with them, like really gently. I was like, have you considered maybe returning the cat to the shelter because it seems like you don't have the time, and la 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 la, but nothing was happening until I could not take it anymore. I texted my student's father and I told him that a cat is not a toy. I think you should return the cat to the shelter if you don't have time to take care of it, because neglect is abuse. I said it in Chinese because they're a Chinese family. And anyway, so afterwards, because I spoke up and because I was just like stressing out about the cat, and I think they kind of noticed, they finally noticed, and because I kind of called them like, I said they were abusing the cat, so they were like, okay, let's respond. So I think eventually they did return the cat to the shelter. I even called the shelter. I was like, so this family adopted this cat and I'm really concerned. I even called around. I was like, who should I talk to? I think there's some abuse going on. I don't know, like I'm really concerned for the cat, etc. I even called the shelter. I was like, if this family comes back to adopt another cat, please don't let them do it, because they clearly do not give a fuck. Anyway, so I actually returned the cat to the shelter, and I know this because my mom, who works near the shelter, actually went to check and she saw the cat there. So thank God. That was just like, I was so relieved. I was honestly so relieved. You remember talking to like the parents, the kids who I was tutoring. They were like, I remember they tried to kind of like round out, like, you know, they were Chinese, so they were trying to save face, I guess. They were like, oh my God, the cat was really attached to my kid. I don't know what happened. We're probably not gonna have another cat, and I don't know if it's because your Chinese was a little wacky since you left Taiwan like really early or whatever. Maybe you didn't mean to use the word abuse. It was a very strong word. You shouldn't do that to your elders. The whole time I was like, yeah, okay, and then I stopped tutoring them. But I was gonna quit tutoring anyway because I wanted to focus on my business. But that is not the point. The point is, I was like, I was so mad. I remember I was so fucking pissed because inside, when they were like, oh my God, maybe you didn't mean to use the word abuse. And I was like, no, I meant to use that word. That was the word I wanted to use. That was the word that I wanted you to hear because that's what you were doing. And ever since then, ever since I witnessed that injustice, I have been just, I don't think I've quite gotten over that incident, to be honest, because this is one of the reasons why I just have severe anxiety episodes when I see something stupid on TikTok, on social media, on YouTube, about the cats, especially about dogs, that people mistreating their animals, people making fun of their animals, people using the animals for entertainment or for social media content. I just get so fucking mad because an animal is not a plaything. It's not a toy. If you want a toy, go buy a toy cat and not adopt an actual cat. A cat, a dog, a pet, a hamster, whatever, is a living being. They have a heart, they have a brain, they have blood pumping through their veins, they have a personality, they have feelings, they have thoughts. Again, it might not be as complex as a human person's, but they do have needs and desires, and they have boundaries. They're, you know, like yeah, I don't think I've ever quite gotten over that, and this is why like I still have that just like bitter rage about people who you know do this to their animals. And I remember another stupid story was like a friend of mine, I think her sister has 2 cats, and her cousin or something, her cousin's children, one of them wanted to adopt a dog, so they got her sister to lend them a cat so they could practice for like a week or 2 to have a dog. Like, what the fuck? I remember I was so like, I should have said something. Like, I should have just told her like that's not how cats work. Number one, cats are very territorial. They're very attached to their environment. You can't just switch environments like that. It takes them forever to get used to a place. I mean, some cats could be really savvy. They might get used to it in like 3 days, but most cats need time. They're really attached to their territory. It's totally gonna freak them out if you transfer them to a completely different place with completely different people with no previous experience. They can't process that, first of all. So it's very unfair for the cat. Second of all, why would you fucking practice on a cat when you're trying to have a dog? Like, it's just an animal's not a plaything. It's not a thing. It's not like Tamagotchi. It's just why are people so stupid? There are times when I just want to be like, bitch, sit down. Like, I need to lecture you on some things about cats. It's just like, cats don't work that way. God. Sorry, I just hate it. That is the rant. I hope I wasn't too violent, and I hope this was somewhat digestible. And honestly, I just wish people would treat animals with respect, and to remember that when you have a cat, a pet, whatever animal it may be in your life, it is a privilege to have an animal as your companion, because I don't know, I just think this is extremely precious. It's just like same way when you have someone who loves you in your life, when you have family, when you have friends, it's very precious because they are under no obligation to be in your life at all. None. And I also just wish that people would just really understand that if you really love your pet, your cat, your dog, your hamster, your birds or whatever, I just really want people to remember that to love is to take something that's part of yourself. It's not to demand, it's not to exploit. It's not that you own your pets so that it could do something for you. If that is your definition of love, if that is how you define loving and caring for your pet is, please, I urge you to really think about what love means, to really think about what it means to love an animal and to be loved by an animal, because that is not what love is. Love is not entitlement, it's not objectification, it's not wanting that person to do something for you just because you give them food or just because you give something. Giving is unconditional. Love is unconditional anyway. Like, you can't treat cats like you treat dogs or treat people especially. I think cats are just a little harder to get because when they don't want something, they make sure they let you know. That's just how cats are, and you should know that if you choose to adopt a cat or have a cat in your life. That's how cats are. They're not gonna be diplomatic. They're not gonna be like, oh, I should do this for you because I care about your feelings. That's not how they roll. That's not what cats are. I know, like, I'm jumping around like pets, dogs, cats. I think mostly cats, really. That's not how they roll, and it's just like you really cannot expect cats to behave in any different way. And please, just like, if you're a dumbass, don't get a pet. Like, get a Tamagotchi or something. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, just anyway. So that's my rant. I think that's it. I'm so glad I got that out of my chest. I'm so glad I got that off my chest. I feel a lot better, and I'm very calm now. So that has been my salt session. That has been my rant. To close, I just want to say that everything I said in this video has been my opinion. Feel free to disagree with it, but everything I say is what I believe is truly right. Those are my truths, and if you're gonna come after me and try to get me to change my mind, it's very unlikely. So, and if this video has given you something to think about, and you have something to share, if you have anything that you would like me to elaborate on or anything that you want me to know, please leave it down in the comments. That is all. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's salt session. Goodbye!